Mr. Transformers 96 here for the video review. This time we're going to be talking about a newly shown Hot Toys that was just shown recently. And we have the Iron Man 2 Tony Stark Mark V suit-up version. So this is pretty exciting, actually. If you told me that there was going to be another Tony Stark, I would be surprised, to be honest. We've had so many Tony Stark figures in the past, and not including the Iron Man figures that we've had. So to get one from Iron Man 2 is surprising. This is our first Tony Stark from Iron Man 2. It is our sixth Tony Stark, just Tony Stark, not Iron Man, just Tony Stark overall, though, which is surprising. But again, first one from number 2. So this is obviously in the Monica race scene when he first confronts Whiplash, or more accurately, when Whiplash first confronts him. So he's obviously racing. Whiplash cuts the car in half, and then we get the incredible suit-up scene with the Mark V. And that was, the scene that I think I loved the most in the trailers. Probably my favorite scene of the movie just in general. I really enjoy it, and that suit-up is so cool. It seems so outdated now, knowing that, it becomes like just presses the thing in his chest and it all forms around him. It's kind of interesting that at one point he had to carry around a suitcase to get a mobile version of the Iron Man suit. But this is really cool. Overall, I think it's awesome. Talking about just the base figure. So the base figure is this Tony Stark right here. So it's the one where he's got the racing costume on and, just the Tony Stark head. Overall, when you just look at the shots of it without any armor, it looks a little cheap, to be honest. I don't know what it is. I feel like the suit doesn't form or doesn't fit particularly well. It looks awkward. It's very wrinkly and weird. Like his arms and shoulders look strange. The wrinkles are crazy. I wish that they used a different material. I think that they could have used a material that was a little bit more flexible to give it a better look, so it didn't look so stiff in these shots. However, it's a minor gripe, considering I don't know who would get this figure and display it without the armor. So it seems a little inconsequential because I just doubt anybody's going to actually use it like that. But if somebody wanted to, it's not a great look, so that's unfortunate. I don't think that the kind of Tony Stark racing costume is that good. Head sculpt wise is again something that I don't think is amazing either. I feel like they've been struggling with Tony Stark recently. I actually enjoyed their Tony Stark head sculpts from like Iron Man 3, Civil War, and they released the Endgame Tony Stark, or Iron Man, that came with a Tony Stark head sculpt that was just awful, that they had to basically give people refunds for. No, but basically they're offering a program where you can switch it out for a different sculpt. Because it's just very poor, and it's not the quality of the preview images either. I also thought that the Mech Test Tony Stark head sculpt was a little lacking as well, and I think that that's the same one with this one. It's not horrible, but it's just lacking. I think that the hair on this one is what's throwing me off. I think that the hair looks a little strange for me. Also, a ton of wrinkles under his eyes. It just looks a little bit too intense. I love the scar, though. I like that damaged look. I think that's very cool. I like that the blood is like dripping down his face too. It's very intense, which is neat. Then the main focus, the armor. The armor's awesome. I love it. It's quite a bit of the Mark V armor. Obviously, there's just portions missing. The deluxe version comes with the suitcase as well, where you have the suitcase open and you can kind of have him like about to put it on. But as you can see, it's very cool. I love it. All of it is just attaching. You can see pieces of his racing suit underneath. It's the bones of the figure where it really looks like it's suiting up, which is very cool. So I think it's awesome. I think it restricts poses, to be quite honest, because like this pose with the arms out type of thing is really all he can do. Like, it would be hard to pose him fighting because the armor's not even quite on him. So because of that, it does restrict the posing, in my opinion. Overall, though, it looks so cool. I love how the pieces are like all forming around him, and it really looks like it's mid-formation. I think they nailed that look. They could have certainly done it and had it just look a little strange, but the paneling, you can see it moving almost when you look at the pictures, which is very cool. Going over some details of this, and then I am going to do a Stark comparison with Hot Toys, all of the Hot Toys Tony Starks, and just kind of talk about them in general. But the pre-order details, it is up for pre-order. What was weird is, this was shown, as usual, since it's an overseas company, they always show Hot Toys very late at night. But what's very unusual is that Sideshow had it up immediately for pre-order. Like within an hour after it had gone up, which is weird. Usually they put it on pre-order the next day around noon, or at least noon my time, the next day. So it was very strange to see it on pre-order. But nonetheless, there's two versions you can get. There's the standard one, and then there is the deluxe version. Standard is $350. Deluxe is $405. So about a $55 difference. Now, what is the deluxe one? What do you get that you don't get with the standard? So the deluxe one comes with the suitcase in 3 stages, basically. Or at least from what I understand, it's the suitcase in 3 stages. I don't think that the I could see almost these two being like a bit of a functioning piece where it can actually collapse like that. Well, it says with articulated function. You know, these two might be the same thing, just in a different stage of because originally I thought it was like, this is an accessory that should get and this, but this could just be like a transformed version of that. I'm not sure. So you get 1 to 2 suitcases, or excuse me, you get 2 to 3 suitcases. You can have it completely closed, slightly open, starting to transform, and then the full one where it's fully breaking out with the gloves and the handles where he can hold on and do the sequence in the film where he grabs the handles, he pushes down to put the gloves on, and then he brings the whole thing up, puts it on his chest, and then stretches the arms out. I always thought that was a really unique way of how to start the transformation. It seems realistic almost, if you were to actually have a suit like this in real life, that seemed like the way that it would go on, to be honest. So I like that quite a bit. So these accessories, they're cool, but they're really only there if you're not going to display him with the armor on. So because of that, I think that it's unnecessary. If it was the same price or just $25 more, okay, that would be cool. But at $55 more, if I were to get this, and unfortunately I don't plan to, but if I were to, I think I would stick with the standard. I think that the $55 savings is more beneficial than those suitcases. The overall $350 I think is quite expensive. The standard Stark figure, he should be no more than $250, but he should really be a little less. I think that the costume is very basic, and then the armor itself on top of it is very cool. From what I'm aware, it's not die-cast or anything, but the armor, obviously should add some money to it. But $350, I think that it's a little high. I think that around $3 to $325 would probably be a better price point for this, in my opinion, personally. Because overall, accessory-wise, very light. You get your figure with the armor. You have some standard hands. You've got 3 pairs of gloved hands, and then 2 pairs of just articulated Iron Man hands. And then you have a standard base with either a logo or a piece of the street that you can put on top of it. But that's like a paperish type thing. So accessory wise, very light. Again, I think $350 is quite pushing it for this for sure. Maybe $350 and have this included, and this not be a deluxe thing that's extra, maybe that would be more worth it. And just comparing kind of the other Stark figures, because there are 6, of course, like I mentioned. 3 of them came out for Iron Man 3, and that was the one in the bottom center, which is the Iron Man workshop. So that came with the full base from his workshop, came with dummy, came with some armor pieces that he can have attached, came with a whole lot. That was quite a large set. Then you had the mechanic version on the right there, bottom right, where he's kind of in the hoodie, infiltrating the Mandarin's kind of fortress type thing. And then you had the one on the left, which is the Rose Hill one, where it's his kind of disguise when he's in the little town and at the bar. That's a horrible one. To be honest, all of these Tony Starks have tempted me in some way, except for that one. I think that's the dumbest version that they could have done. And then there's 3 from other movies. Iron Man 1, we have the mech test version, which is him testing the flight capabilities of the Iron Man suit. It's a fun scene, I think a pretty iconic scene from that movie too. We have the Iron Man 2 one, just revealed, the race car suit, and then the Endgame one in his kind of time-traveling suit. The time-traveling one is the least like Tony Stark of them all, because obviously everyone's wearing that suit, so, I mean, like they could have gone with anybody for that figure, but they went with Tony Stark. To be honest, I have one of these. I have the middle bottom one, the Iron Man 3 one that's his workshop. I have that one, and that's a great figure, to be honest. I really like it. Love the whole base. Right now I don't have it displayed with the whole base just for space purposes, but I have in the past, and it just looks super cool. And it's a great kind of definitive Tony Stark. All of these other Tony Starks are very much like him in a specific scene, but if you just want like a nice standard Tony Stark in your collection, that one's the best, I think. Just costume wise, although that specific costume is only in Iron Man 3, it's the most down-to-earth type of costume that he's wearing, that he wears a very similar costume in all the movies, so it works well for all of them. The testing one from the mech test one, I really like. I do want that figure. I'm having trouble justifying purchasing it though, just because don't think I quite need it. Not 100% sure where I display it either. It would kind of have to be on its own. So I love it because I love the scene and I love Iron Man 1, but probably don't need it. So don't think I'm going to end up getting it, but I am somewhat considering. The Rose Hill one I think is stupid. The Mechanic one I think is a fun one. It's one that has gone down in price, so I've actually looked into buying it previously, and I haven't, but I'm interested in it. I bought the hoodie, jeans, and shoes for an Electro custom that I was working on, so I have the majority of the clothing of that figure, and it's pretty nice. It's very flexible, so articulation-wise would be really, really good with it. The team suit one I don't think is really necessary. The only time where I think that would be a good figure to get is if you're going to go all out and get quite a few, so you can kind of have like a team in that costume. That would be cool, but just as far as a single figure, I don't think it's worth it. And then the race car one that was just shown, I think it's a really neat design. It would really have to be displayed as like transforming into the Mark V though. But overall, some interesting Tony Starks that they've done. It's very surprising that they've done this many Tony Starks, and then you add an additional like 40 armors that they've done too. So they're Iron Man'd out at this point, I think. Overall though, all are quite good except for that Rose Hill one. But yeah, overall, do I plan to get this new one that was shown? I do not. I think it is very cool, but I don't plan to get it. To be honest, I've wanted the Mark V figure for a long time, and I never pulled the trigger. Seeing this figure makes me want it even more too. So if I end up getting something like this, it would be just the Mark V, and I display it with Whiplash, because I have Whiplash. But this is a really cool novelty piece. I think that you really have to be a very specific collector to get this, but it's very unique, so I think that is great, because I love unique, and it's nice to see them doing some older characters or moments from Marvel movies. It would be awesome if they keep doing this and do other older figures that they've never done. That would be cool. So there you go. That's my thoughts on this new Tony Stark Mark V suit-up version. Let me know what you guys think of it, and thanks so much for watching.